let's check out David's portfolio. So David, first of all, that that background, dude, this is great. I'm looking forward to clicking on this scene. It looks rough, man. It looks pretty intense. Um, so 3D environment artist, freelancer in Brazil. David wrote works remotely for game companies, FPS. Just curious of your thoughts. So we've got some logos here of varying sizes. I think if there's something that you could do for your portfolio, it's to try and get all the logos in the same spot, or like a consistency in the way that you present your thumbnails. But just looking at this portfolio just off the get-go, there's a lot here, and it's really interesting. The quality is really nice as well. Let's start with hunting, and we'll just kind of scroll through this as we're going. Oh, that's sick. So, quick project I did back in 2019. I did this project specifically or especially for learning Maya, Arnold Render, and World Machine. Nice. Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. I almost thought it was looping. You know, with the clouds passing by, you can use a cloud to mask the transition to the beginning of the video, and then it'll look like it's constantly flying. But I mean, of course, this is 2 years ago, so get all that comp work going in. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't have too much to add on this. The paneling on the ship is it's quite interesting. It doesn't really have the too much of the logic behind it, like mainly around here. Here it feels pretty natural. Let me also link this in chat. So sick. Ollie Polly, how you doing? If we go to the Chernobyl piece, made this in 2014 when I was 16 years old. That's amazing. I was learning a lot that time using 3ds Max, V-Ray, and also doing crazy shaders with blend materials in V-Ray Dirt. So fun. That's insane that you were 16 doing this. That's amazing. I think when I look at this, the thing that's throwing me off is just the kind of cold ground and trying to make it feel like it's not a lot of busyness. Like maybe it's cold around the edges and a little bit further out from that, but then the rest is kind of just this the concrete, cold concrete. It's pretty sick though. So you posted this last year. Don't tell me you're 17. Back in 2014, I learned a lot about V-Ray. So it's starting to feel like you just recently, like within the last year, joined Artstation and started uploading your stuff. So you're like getting all of your work in here. McDonald's exists everywhere except in outer space. So I actually really like this piece. There's a few things that are making the scale feel a little funny, but I'm seeing like the little window and stuff, so it's like a drive-through. Oh man, there's even, let's go. One of those Wonder Kids. So you've got a vehicle in there for scale. So we got that going. Dude, this is cool. Oh man, hardcore. Manual placement's always like, dang, that person's serious. So the thing I wanted to highlight is the solar panels feel so bulky that they mess with the scale of the entire piece. I think that's the thing that sticks out to me the most. But man, what a cool, interesting, and strange idea. I actually really like this one. There's not any breakdowns or anything. Like I'd love to see how you decided to map all of your textures out and like what's tileable versus not tileable. What your geometry looks like, all of those materials, and just the understanding behind it. Because in the end, that's how you understand how people make things, right? And what it looks like. Tundra, Dota 2. For our what we from out Xeon are glad to introduce our new project for Dota 2 loading screen to our client, level 99. Dude, nice. Nice. So there's a little bit of flickering. I'm not sure what's going on there. That may be like there's too many lights and you're hitting like a light limit. Do you see that? It's really cool though. When you switch to the shot where it starts moving, it should already, I would say it should already be moving. Or like maybe even like soft fade from this one to the other one. Shark, that's hilarious about the solar panels. So the screenshot here is really cool, and I love the amount of detail that you've got going on at the base here. It's really nice. This head over here feels a little squished. This guy. But I don't have too much to add on this one. Maybe the elements in the background could be pushed back just a little bit further through like atmosphere, just to get you some more separation so that this can pop more. But really cool. Interesting colors as well. Let's see what else we got going on. Oh my god, I love this. So this looks pretty cool. Render, don't turn off. Man, that brings it back. Holy cow. So for some of these details, I guess we're looking at like resolution, right? But at the same time, I have a feeling all of this is in one texture sheet. Maybe this is in its own. No, that looks custom. That is custom, sir. Interesting. Really cool. Oh man, dude, the stickers. Oh, dude, this is awesome. There's so much to explore. So I like the way you're rendering everything in this. I feel like these could probably be two next to each other, and then you could write like a little thing on the side here. So Fritz, hey, do you need some help, sir? I found this amazing concept at Google Images, so I decided to do it as a prop. No way. To improve my game workflow habit. Dude, that's so cool. You see this? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so the thing I would say on this asset is like, let's scroll a bit. So this is great. We're getting some wireframes. I want to see, dude, the materials. So nice. It's really nice seeing material work where like the light is affecting the surfaces in such a way. I think where that sticker is, having a different roughness from the body is going to go a whole lot in the direction of awesome, because like you'll be able to get different highlights and information there. You can see this one, this I think they call them cozies. I think that's what they're called. But this cozy looks like it's really low res, or it's tiling really low. So I think that could actually be a detail normal that you tile up as much as you need. Is that Keanu as Jesus? That's hilarious. I'm just picking up on this. It's so funny. I'm like, wait a minute. Is that Keanu? Keanu? Yeah, scale-wise, this just feels strange to me. It feels like it's out of scale with everything else. But man, so much character. Looks really cool. It's interesting that you're lighting from this side, so the front is not lit, which I guess is because of the front-facing screen. Oh, these dope little arms. Yeah, I just want to see textures. I want to see how this is all put together. There's a little bit of like it's pretty high geo in some areas, but I think it's fine. It really depends what it's for, right? You're just building this, it looks cool. And you're saying spare time working on your portfolio, your game workflow habits. So in that case, then I would want to figure out like, okay, how are you packing your UVs? What are separated, or is it all in one set, right? Because your sticky notes actually look really cool. And like, what's the resolution of them? Because there's ways like in game dev habits, right? There's ways to make assets look higher res than they are just by the way you tile materials on them or tile the detail normals or the way you're mapping and UVing stuff. Like, is this a decal or is that actually, yeah, see, that looks like it's baked in. We would probably do that with a decal, depending on the game you're building. Um, these would also probably be decals that are just floating. None of these would be baked onto the screen or the body of the I want to say computer. But super cool. Really, really cool asset. It's just missing out on like roughness variation because everything is kind of baked together. You're getting a little bit of it, but you can see like, oh, Madu's barking. You can see the normal of what's under it. It's like it's like painted on. Whereas like that normal should be a completely different like surface. It should be smoother, right? Because it's a sticker. Ah, it's super cool. So I don't want to dive too deep into all of the work. It looks like you started doing some stuff for Lyritz. So we got 2 scenes for Lyritz, and then you worked at Decagon, and then it looks like maybe some more personal work. Ah, Diablo 4 fan art. I understand now. I know why it looks so terrifying. So let's dig through some of the Lyritz stuff. So for me, this stuff looks all right, but generally speaking is very busy, very noisy. There's a lot of information happening that makes it hard to find areas for your eyes to rest, right? Like this area right here is like really the only area that I can rest my eyes. Oh, Shokri, I'll be out of town, man. I want to play in the server, man. I'm sure someone will jump in. But like these assets are great. And it's just a matter of like how do you push those surfaces, right? Like the cardboard boxes, those look pretty good. These bags feel a little like you see how thick that crease is. That makes me think that the bag is actually um, thicker in material than just like a plastic bag. Act sick. No way, man. I gotta go barbecue. Gotta go barbecue in the woods. Um, but yeah, these are nice to see because it shows that you're building with the idea of like how they're um, uh, Shoker, you're being funny, man. You're building with the intention of like how they're to be used, right, by other people, which is really interesting. Um, we're not seeing much else from it. We are getting wireframes, but not really any of the texturing side of stuff. Like these, like the normal on these is really strong. Toning that down would be really important, I think. But yeah, I think we go to the next one and just take a look at what's going on here. So this is the 1950s mega pack. This is my contribution with some of the game assets from the 1950s New York pack. Let's check it out. How big is this pack? That's pretty cool. This pack looks huge. It's the size of New York City, obviously. uh, that's good. Man, interesting. So there's a bit of a duplicating of posts going on in your portfolio. So I definitely highlight those. Maybe remove one of them or something. Wait a minute. I thought I saw. There's the Lyritz. Is that the Lyritz car logo? That's pretty interesting. Uh, Congrats on being part of something like that as well. It feels good. Oh man, Counter-Strike fan art. Dude, doing fan art for Counter-Strike to me is dangerous just because so many people are familiar with it that it's like, you know, you have like a really high bar to live up to. Rush B, baby, let's go. Oh man, you did a scan of it. That's one way to do it. So for me, what you had built looked pretty good. It's just it's hard to read. Like I don't recognize. Oh wait, now I do. I remember standing here a lot, but I think maybe it's the sandbags are throwing me off because I was like, I don't remember that. Yeah, the Quixel did as well. They used the scan technique. It's a pretty interesting idea. That's probably something else I'll do this weekend is scan an entire house, the outside of it, just to see what that's like. I'm gonna use Nerf. Um, but yeah, readability wise, I mean, I can see what you're going for. The materials look pretty good. There's this rooftop detail here, or like this kind of thatchy looking stuff, is very flat. Like you'd have to really like curl that down in order to see it. And then the tiling of the ground is actually the details are really large and you need some like pathing, right? You need some readability to make it easier to read like read what you're looking at. This shot's pretty cool. I feel like it needs the light on one side or the other, and like how this connects to the building, there needs to be like more here. Right now they feel like two separate things that are meeting, right? Whereas it needs to feel integrated. You can do that with decals quite easily. Oh, see, this is nice. I feel like if you were a little bit close to the edge and maybe a little higher up, you would still get this, but you'd want to get less of that and more of the space on the inside, right? But yeah, pretty cool. It's a cool scene. Let's see what else you were. Yeah, there's some saturation stuff going on as well, for sure. I think with like this wall, it'd be interesting if like half the wall or 2/3 of the wall was painted and then the rest was not painted, or like the damage that's happening is removing that color. That way you get some more kind of surface play. Uh, yeah. Hmm. Definitely B though. We're in B. Man, I don't remember this back area. Yeah, it's quite interesting. One thing to think about is like when we were mentioning the colors of the wall and stuff is like figuring out how you balance those details. What should be lighter than darker, by comparison of each other. Like this building being quite light becomes a focal point, right? And when you're standing here like in the middle of a firefight, your silhouette is super clean against that. And this is cool though. I want to see breakdowns. I don't see any breakdowns. How many unique props did you have to build to make this happen? That type of stuff. And there's a lot of scrolling. for shots that are the same scene, just from a slightly different angle. Narrowing this down to like 2 or 3 shots, I think would be enough. Jean-Pierre, how you doing? Hey. This looks nice. So this is for Decagon. Some nice like surface detail going on here. Look at all that modeling work on the top. Very nice. I feel like you're using detail surfaces or detail normals. Look at those patterns in there, bro. Look at that stuff. Subtlety in the roughness. That looks great. This also looks very nice. It's weird. It feels like it's leaning forward, but I mean, maybe it is, I guess. I don't know. Again, I want to, like, how are these? I guess with Decagon, maybe you're not supposed to show anything other than the renders. Like, how are we doing this? Like, don't share the secrets, you know? The wood material looks really nice as well. It's flowing, right? But it's also like you've got some nice damage where it should be. Like, damage where it counts. And like all these like little model details are really nice. This specifically I really like, and this is something I see from Decagon a lot, is just these nice highlight points. So the roughness is always being like balanced so that you always get highlights and always have like shallow information in there as well. So it's very contrasted. I'd be really curious to see what the roughness looks like on this. And then we got some of your personal stuff. So this was 4 months ago. This one was 2 months ago. So I think you have a good skill set for executing assets, like individual assets. There's a little bit of work that needs to happen when it comes to your composition and how you're balancing your scenes. And especially like this scenario right here. So this is a sci-fi like cross hallway space, right? The thing that always makes these scenes extremely difficult to pull off and look really good is that you are also designing. And so you need to be essentially a industrial designer as well as making it look good, like from a material and modeling standpoint. See, for me, I'd really lean into making this darker and not really seeing much, maybe barely seeing the ceiling. This is very creepy looking. But oh yeah, look at that, all these modules as well. I feel like it's overly lit, so it's very difficult to make sense of the, I mean, you're seeing everything. And I think controlling the lighting would allow you to really like make it scarier. And then when you have that spinning red light, oh, look at that hand thing. Oh, that's cool. The spinning red light becomes much more punchy because it's the only thing giving you information in this area, maybe. Seeing like you turn that way. Let me see if there's sound. Like when you turn that way, you should be turning because you heard something like fall or break. And when you turn that way, all the lights should be off back there. That alone I'd be like, this is sick. Because I could forgive like the designs, because right to me the designs feel very simple and like someone who is still getting used to designing. But capturing atmosphere and like hitting on all those points, that's the stuff that makes me go, bro, what? This is sick. Jean-Pierre says he recommends using lookup tables in Photoshop and then adding them to your post-process volume. Yeah, that'll help a lot. That'll help a whole lot. Oh, I need to update all those, curious, now that we have the new URL. You can go to empire.cmd.com for lots of resources, basically, in like lots of different things. But when it comes to designing this stuff, to me, the ceiling is overly designed, but not designed at the same time. Like it's a lot of information going on, but it's flat, right? Getting some some depth in there would go a long way. Modeling different elements to try and give you some information up there. Ceilings are probably the number one thing that people either don't pay attention to or lack the fidelity of like what goes into a ceiling to really push it. Um, Polysocks also says alternatively you can get into DaVinci Resolve, dive too deep and become consumed in post processing for 6 months. Designing those shapes is what holds me back from these kinds of sci-fi environments. I need solid reference. Yeah, it's difficult, man. And I mean, I think you did a pretty David did a pretty good job, but pushing that the understanding of the design and then also executing on it, it's not easy. It's not an easy thing. But yeah, let's get to this Diablo scene, and then I think we're good to go. Dude, look at this. Oh man, and you're even doing like the, oh, that's cool. Dude, yeah, look at Deus Ex. There's some great stuff in there. So this is really cool. I feel like the blood is maybe too crunchy when it comes to the roughness. Like it's really reflective, right? As blood is pretty reflective. But it's there's so much normal map information going on in it that it just turns into like glitter, right? But this is really cool. This is a really cool scene. The way you've put like all the candles and stuff on the sides is really interesting. I think spacing it out in ways where it doesn't feel like large clumps. Maybe there's one or two every once in a while. It would start to feel quite a bit more natural. And then trying to, like when I look at these sinewy details, they distract me more than they add to the scene, and I think it's just because I don't understand what they are, or they're not adding to the silhouette in a way where I can just be like, oh, it's just a cool, like it's a cool silhouette, right? Um, this is really cool though. I think also thinking about lighting to separate the spaces. So like you've got the I don't even know what you would call this, the diagram on the ground that you probably teleport in from. Um, Getting that, see that's like a really hot, like reddish color. It's very warm, right? And then you got warm lights here. I think taking this color, maybe saturating it and pushing it down and giving more area for areas to be dark, or like this area here to be less lit or a different color. Oh, there's some technical stuff in here too. Nice, man. So like for example, I feel like the bricks are too shiny in the roughness. There's a lot of that happening in here, and I feel like that's causing everything to just look really busy when you can actually make surfaces look a little bit more realistic or natural. Like look at how it looks when you're up close. Like that's crazy. It's pretty cool, but it's also, it's really contrasted. It's maybe like a little too, maybe too contrasted. See, and then there's like this information that's happening here and then here. I guess that's blood that's on the carpet. So trying to figure out how to balance those things. And like I don't know where that light's coming from, but then there's these candles. I think they need to be more localized to the source than like illuminating the space, right? Sigil, thank you, Raggedy. The candle materials seem like they got too much subsurface going on there, glowing all the way through. Oh, It's either that or there's a light in front that's really, I mean, that's how you would push these candles like to the max, is get the subsurface singing right and make the, instead of like lighting the candles, actually put a light source where the candle flame is, and you'll get much more accurate like representations of the candles, because sometimes I thought they were actually pots. You can see how wet the surface is. By making this dry, then you can splatter blood on spots. You can like have dripping moisture in areas because you have the range to work with, right? That's really cool. It's a really cool piece. This is interesting too. Yeah, these little flames, when you get up close to them, I'm like, oh, those are those little plastic ones that aren't actually lit. That's the vibe I get from the little flame. Oh my gosh, look at these. That's intense, man. Yo. So I love this. Thank you for doing this. I feel like that's enough breakdown. I mean, we could look at a few things where it's like, oh, what does that look like texture wise? What's the texture flat look like? But generally speaking, I think it's just a matter of getting some more. See, the pots are pretty blended in. Maybe if they were a little brighter or different values, then they really kind of show themselves as well. Oh, you wish there was more intestines? I mean, it's all here, right? I like that everything is localized to this spot. If you ever look at like Diablo 2, for example, or even Diablo 1, they had these like pools, like bathtubs, like giant cauldrons of blood, and like dead people just floating or laying on the sides. Man, that, I think if you push that look here, where a lot of this like sinewy detail is around the edges, and then for a majority of it, it's just like smooth, flat, like pool of blood with like intestines popping out of it every once in a while and the skull sticking out of it. That would, I think that would read easier. Right now it's very busy. Either way, nice work on this piece. This is really cool. I can't wait for the release of Diablo 4, so I decided to build an environment using Unreal Engine 5 to hold my anxiety. uh that's that's amazing. Oh, you were a big fan of Diablo 3. I finished the game multiple times, playing all night long. Same passion for playing it is to the same to build it. This is awesome. So, okay, let's just dive into the, we have a few minutes here. So, what I wanted to say is I want to see, I want to see you pushing your materials more. Like I say with the other portfolios, just being able to balance your scenes so that you have more flexibility to play with the surfaces. Like this surface being really rough allows you to then have moisture or dripping of blood or some type of liquid coming down the wall. Um, and getting your surfaces to read without it being overly detailed. It's like balancing all of that stuff. It's all about your material control and how all of your materials work together in the scene itself, which you can't really get to until you've actually built the scene. So like for me, this scene right here is like the moment where, okay, now we're at the last 5% or the last 2%, where it's like, okay, how do we make everything come together? Because it's all here, right? But making this archway feel like it's connected to the floor, and like these are all like, why is this here but then stops here, right? I would like close this off and add another arch here, turn this into a room. Maybe there's an archway here and this is not here at all, like the archway is in this spot, so this becomes its own little like space. So once you have a scene put together, then you can sit there and start to balance all of the materials against each other as well as the assets, and just get the surfaces to all read and sing together. Tobias, what's up, man? Good to see you. And once you have that, that's when it starts slapping, man. That's when the scene really comes together. But yeah, you've definitely earned your mature warning. I don't know what Twitch is going to say about that to me, but it's fine. If they say too much, I'll just go to YouTube. Yeah, really nice portfolio, man. Push your compositional understanding. Your storytelling is pretty nice. Continue to work on that and really push your materials, and you're going to be like that much higher up in your own quality of work. Nice job. And thank you for sharing.